Welcome back, cultists, to the first video of 2023. Now, 2022 was not the best year for me. We saw some channel growth. I made some good videos that I'm very happy with, and yeah, well, we hit some landmarks there, but it could be a lot better. And yeah, it was just a very bad year in general. But anyway, this time we're going to be looking at the released footage that came at the end of last year regarding what Guillermo del Toro wanted to create regarding At the Mountains of Madness. Now, if you are aware of Guillermo del Toro, if you follow what he does, he has for a long time, for over 10 years now, wanted to create At the Mountains of Madness, a full-length Hollywood production film, you know, huge budget, everything like this. And for various reasons, as we'll explain in this video, he never got around to it, and it wasn't really his fault, to be honest. But he did, at the end of last year, release some footage of like a test screening of what it would look like. And that is what we're going to be looking at in this article, and we have some other articles to go through. So this is coming from the Industrial Light and Magic, which is, I think it was founded by George Lucas, actually, for the production of Star Wars, if my movie trivia is correct. But yeah, we'll go to his official Instagram page, Guillermo del Toro Real. That's his channel, so we'll go over there and have a look. So let's do it one playthrough without my commentary, and then I'll give some commentary afterwards. Let's go. Alright guys, that was basically, it's a very short clip. It was just sort of like some sort of test. I'm sure Del Toro, he just had like a storyboard or something like that put together, and he gave it up to some intern at the ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, to patch it together quickly. And that's what, yeah, that's a slight little glimpse into the idea that Del Toro has, or yeah, let's say has. I won't say the past tense. So there's still hope for this film. His vision for what At the Mountains of Madness might look like. Now, let's analyze the clip a little bit here. All right. So basically, we have a setting where we have one of our characters. There's so many characters in At the Mountains of Madness, so we can't really say who. It looks like this character dies, so it might just be one of the various nameless students who joined the university expedition. Of course, the main feature of this clip is the creature. So this student seems to be going, well, he's going to die, it probably looks like, unless he manages to get to that shotgun. But let's look at the creature, actually. Now, I'll say what the first good thing that comes to mind is the atmosphere is absolutely right. The atmosphere, you know, this is very rough, keep in mind, so. But the atmosphere seems very right. Everything seems appropriate like that. And in my mind, if I like polish up the graphics in my mind and such, and with proper animation, obviously it will be a real life actor. It looks good, and I would want a lot more. You know, a lot more. I'd be like, yeah, okay, bring me more. You know, but we get to the creature, which is the main draw of this clip, basically. Now, that creature is not an elder thing. All right, let's look at it. Let's freeze it there. That is not an elder thing. In no way is that an elder thing. You could explain it to a blind man and give the blind man a bunch of clay, all right? And he would come up with something more accurate than whatever that is. That is not an elder thing. Now, Del Toro is a Lovecraft fan. He's always been a Lovecraft fan for many years. I have some Lovecraft books where he has written the introduction and things like this, the forewords and what have you. So Del Toro knows how to adapt Lovecraftian creatures. So why is he creating a creature like this? I mean, look at it. It is not It is not. It's not in any way, shape, or form an elder thing. And in At the Mountains of Madness, there are only two types of creatures that we really see, or that are discussed. No, not discussed, but seen, that the human characters interact with. You got elder things, and you got shoggoths. So this thing is clearly not an elder thing, right? Now you could say maybe it's a shoggoth, but a shoggoth is basically like, how do you say it? Some nameless kind of blob, gelatinous blob, right? And it can take the form of any creature, basically. Any creature, anything. It was designed by the elder things to be a tool, for basically like heavy lifting, constructing the cities of the elder things, things like that. Slave labor. But then later on, they kind of developed a mind of their own. But the point is that a shoggoth can create any form. So technically a shoggoth could look like that. But from what the clip seems to be, it seems to be in the mid part of the story of At the Mountains of Madness, when, you had the two parties, the two exploration groups. You had Lake's group, and I think the other one was Dyer's group, right? So Lake's group gets, well, if you haven't read the story, I mean, what are you doing with your life? Go pause the video and go, read the story. But Lake's group gets absolutely decimated, It's, they find, it's like The Thing, the film, right? They find elder things buried in the ice, in the rock. They excavate, they start slicing it up, for a autopsy. It wakes up, not in the best of moods.
And they dig it up out of the ice.
Yes, Gary, they dig it up, they cart it back. It gets thawed out, wakes up, probably not in the best of moods. I don't know what he...
And basically kills everyone. And that kind of happens in The Thing as well. But that happens by an elder thing that they discovered, not a shoggoth, right? So I'm wondering, what the hell is this creature? It seems to be some original type of design, or something like that. But Del Toro knows what an elder thing looks like. So why is he making taking these liberties? That makes me nervous a little bit. I don't mind if an adaptation has its own liberties, right? It can do that completely. In fact, why would you make a one-for-one copy of a song or a film or something, or like an adaptation? Some changes, adding your own tastes and things is fine. But this is something completely out of left field. This is not a Lovecraftian creature. I mean, in fact, it looks like one of the things from The Thing, one of the dead bodies. He has slapped on the tentacles, of course, because Lovecraft equals tentacles. Yes, many Lovecraftian creatures are tentacled. Nothing wrong with that. But, the creature design is just... It's not so... It doesn't impress me, man. It doesn't make me think, oh, wow, that's so great. I want to see an elder thing. I want to see and how long... Us Lovecraftians, we suffer, man. Where are our adaptations, our films and things like that? They don't exist. There's not many, right? So when he finally gets his 100 million budget that he's asking for. I mean, that was what he was asking for 10 years ago. So now with inflation, it's probably like 130 million. Say now he gets that, he gets the actors he wants, and he gets everything he wants, and then he creates a creature like this. I would be severely let down, man. After all these years, we finally get a big production Hollywood film with all the trimmings, all the special effects, and it's like this weird original character. I mean, fine, yeah, but I want to see an elder thing, don't you? That's just what I feel like when I see this clip. I want to see an elder thing. That's all I'm going to say. So that's my analysis of the clip. You guys tell me in the comment section what you think about it. Now, we are going to go on to just look at a few articles here in this article discussion to see what if there's any more details about At the Mountains of Madness vis-a-vis Guillermo del Toro. So we go to this one by GameRant. The key point here at the bottom is that Del Toro's adaptation of At the Mountains of Madness was very close to being made. The release of Prometheus, which faced a few shortcomings, however, I'll say that for sure, made the studio wary of retreading similar ground. So Prometheus, if you haven't seen the film, save yourself the effort. I didn't like it. I know some of you mentioned you did. Salute, fair, you know. You don't have to like everything that the other person likes, but I didn't like it at all. And the film also had some explorers that discover alien creatures, and it doesn't turn out very well for them. So yeah, the studio was feeling that. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they kind of shot down at the Mountains of Madness being released. The article continues to say, the film's rating also made executives worried. They insisted that the project be PG-13, a prospect that Del Toro did not agree with, and the film was ultimately dropped. That's pretty good, because at the Mountains of Madness, in the story, there's a fair amount of gore. Humans are not just simply killed, they are torn apart, they are dissected, they are brutalized by the Elder Things once they wake up, from their dormant state. And I feel like that's necessary in Lovecraftian horror. I always call it the perversion of the human being. I don't mean that in like sort of sexual perversions, but like the twisting and the degrading of the human being, like the mutilation of it. Think of like the average type of killer, right? Killers shoot, they stab, things like that. But the ones which really stand out in history, like the sick fucks that deserve death, like Jeffrey Dahmer and what have you. Who else you got there? Did Ted Bundy do anything? I don't know. Dahmer suits an example. I mean, the things he did, it was horrific. There's a lot of killers out there. He didn't even kill that many compared to like the worst serial killer. I think was a Colombian guy via numbers, but everyone remembers Dahmer just because the sick, inhuman mutilation of human beings. It's horrific to us. It's brutal, and the average killer will just shoot or stab or something like that, and it's almost like, yeah, okay, that's a way to die, but no one wants to be torn apart and mutilated or something like that. There's some sort of inhuman treatment there that even killers, on average, would not do that. That inhuman treatment there it creates a sort of sense of alienage, and I always think that is very much necessary in cosmic horror films, in Lovecraftian films. So good for him sticking up for telling the studios, shove it with your PG-13. I think the gore is absolutely necessary. Then we go on further here. The article says, had everything gone as planned at the Mountains of Madness, would have been produced by James Cameron, a big name, being rated R, and cost $100 million, and would have starred Tom Cruise. Now you can see, just from the point of view of the executives there, the suits behind whichever film company it was, I mean, they wanted $100 million. First of all, who the hell is Lovecraft to these people? Lovecraft is not established IP, really. I mean, you got Spider-Man, Batman, Jaws. There are monsters out there which are, almost guaranteed crowd drawers, right? And then he comes there, Del Toro, and says, give me $100 million to adapt Lovecraft. What? Who? Lovecraft? Obviously we know about Lovecraft, but these executives, nah, not really. And then he asks $100 million. And Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is not cheap. And then, this epic film, and epic films to produce, they go over budget. They need to do reshoots. It just goes on and on and on. So that $100 million, from the executive's point of view, that's going to climb up a little bit. And all the costs for, from Joe Normie Joe Normie isn't really a Lovecraft fan or know about Lovecraft. Sadly, I'm doing my best on my channel. Despite my efforts, the average person is not really well acquainted. So that's a big financial risk. And having it at an R rating, you're not going to get like the 17 and below age group, So that's a big problem. So no wonder the studio shut down Del Toro. Moving on to the second article, I thought was interesting is that Guillermo del Toro's dream movie may soon be a stop-motion reality. And then the snippet here says, in an interview with Del Toro, I said it would be ideal to do Mountains of Madness as stop-motion. Del Toro told IndieWire. He said that stop-motion has texture that lends itself well to Lovecraft's uniquely eerie storytelling. You watch the animation in a more rapturous way than live action. It's almost a hypnotic act, and the relationship to the story becomes more intimate in that way. So yeah, he has a very, very good fleshed out idea for his film here, but stop motion. We saw that with the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. They made a stop motion Cthulhu in their adaptation of the Call of Cthulhu. Now keep in mind, that's a very low budget. I don't think their budget went over 5 figures, to be honest, to make that. So, whereas Del Toro is asking for 100 million, and that was back then. So you think of that shaky sort of stop motion Cthulhu from the Historical Society's adaptation, and you think, well, Del Toro wants to do that? Nah, I think he would do a lot more in creating very good stop motion. But in the end, if you have to choose between stop motion and just great practical effects, take the practical effects, man. I don't know. Stop motion, it's alright. I mean, Ray Harryhausen is a legend. Those old films that he helped create are legendary, and those were all stop motion. Jason and the Argonauts comes to mind especially. But I'm not really a stop motion guy. I don't think it's like a deal breaker, and in some ways it's preferable over just CGI. But I would say, I mean, great practical effects. Remember what Rob Bottin did in The Thing? It was just legendary. It was just great. So why not just do something like that? The next article is this one, stating that Guillermo del Toro still wants to make his unmade H.P. Lovecraft project and pitched it to Netflix. Now there's a red flag. Holy shit, it's like, if you want to talk about red flags, that is the red square on May Day. That's how red we're talking about here, man. Netflix is a company which has a horrific reputation. If they were doing a documentary on polar bears, they would go out with the effort to go find some bloody brown bears from Alaska or wherever. No, not Alaska. Where do brown bears hang out? California, right? That's on the state flag. They'd go get those ones just for the sake of their agenda that they shove into every goddamn thing. Not to mention, Netflix is also a company which released literal. Now, I think by YouTube, I'm not allowed to say these two words together, but literal children doing stuff that very sick, demented adults who need to die would enjoy watching. That type of stuff. What was it? Cuties, right? They released that.
I find it disgusting. Every fucking TV show now, they rub your nose in it.
So this is a company with a clear agenda, a bunch of sick fucks, and then Del Toro wants to go there and pitch this to them. They have. Lovecraft, you've seen my previous article discussions. Lovecraft is not enjoyed by the progressives. They hate him. They loathe him. They love spitting on his grave and subverting our expectations and subverting his racism and all this sort of rubbish. So you want to pitch this to Netflix? No. However, Netflix did produce something good. What was that series called? Love, Death, and Robots, right? Something like that, right? And they had one episode where Cthulhu was in there, and it was pretty damn good. I'm actually going to make a standalone video about that. So yeah, it's possible that Netflix could produce something that is good from a Lovecraft point of view. But their track record is ghastly. So the idea that Del Toro is pitching his story to Netflix, that is not really something that's really good in my book. Anyway, guys, I don't want this video to go too long. Let's have another look at the footage here one more time. So, I mean, yeah, the atmosphere is very good. It's very, it's immersive. You can imagine being there. But again, the creature design, it's like, what is it? What is it, man? It's original. Looks cool. Probably would fit a typical Lovecraft story, but we all know what creatures feature in the At the Mountains of Madness is an elder thing. That is not an elder's thing. That's not even really what Shoggoths are portrayed in adaptations. So, one final thing before I say goodnight to you guys is that you can actually, apart from viewing this video clip, you can read the actual script. Yeah, how about that? How about that? Guillermo del Toro's script for his screenplay for At the Mountains of Madness. Now, I don't know when he released this. It was a long time ago. This is coming courtesy of the what do you call them? The Lovecraft Easy. Not my favorite website. Yeah, I'm not really into them. But they did have this. It was published in 2013. And this is the whole PDF. You can read it for free. No login, no registering. You can read it for free. I'll leave a link in the video description where you can download the whole PDF for yourself. And then you can read it. It's 108 pages. Pretty long. But you could probably go through this in like an hour, since each page is quite small. It's not a lot of text to read. But this is coming from Guillermo del Toro. So clearly he's put a lot of thought and effort into At the Mountains of Madness. And just the fact that after all these years, he's still got a hard on for it. And he still wants to produce it. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So we will see what happens. I'll keep you guys abreast of the issue. But for now, that's all I have to say about the footage of Del Toro's CGI test for At the Mountains of Madness. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. It's been a bit of a long one, but thanks for sticking around to the end. If you're still here, let me just chill a little bit here for the Bizarchives. Weird tales of machines, magic, and monsters. I am actually now officially a published pulp writer. I can say proudly, my story, The Sea God of the Canary Islands, is released with the Bizarchives, and it's available to pick up as an ebook or a physical copy from the bizarchives.com, all one word, or you can go to Amazon and just search for the Bizarchives and look up issue 4 out of their extensive collection where you can read my story. It's my first ever story, so it's a little bit rough around the edges, but I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy with it. I think it's a good start. It's getting some good reviews. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.